So you need to know, we've already kind of talked about it. This number right here, the number that's inside that check mark, this is called the root. So the number that's inside the check mark is called the root. So that's the first thing. And then you guys, if you have something in parentheses, that's an entity. That's what I call it. It's also called the radicand. But I just wanted to tell you that we're going to look at different roots today. And we're also going to talk about exponents and roots, okay? And at the end, we'll finalize our comment. So, example 1. Today, either they're going to be perfect squares or you're going to use your calculator. That is today's homework. They're either, again, they're going to be perfect squares where you shouldn't need to do a tree, or you're going to use a calculator, okay? So, our first problem is the square root of 81a squared. What number is in the check mark? Right here. What number is there? What number is written? Nothing is written there, which means it is a 2. Okay? If there's no number written inside this check mark, it's a 2. Okay? You can write it in there if you need to, but if you don't see a root, then it's automatically a 2. It's unlike an exponent where you don't see 1, it's a 1, but in this place it is a 2. It's why it's called a square root, because square means 2. Okay, like I said, either today is either going to be a perfect square or you're going to use your calculator. But this is a perfect square. Is 81 on our perfect square chart? Yes. And what is the square root of 81? Okay. Now, today with our exponents on our variables, everything is going to come out even. Tomorrow, not so much, but today, yes. So when you get a variable with an exponent, you take the exponent, which is 2, and you divide it by the root, which in this case is 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now, because your exponent was even and your root was even, but you got an odd number exponent, you got an odd exponent, that variable needs to go in absolute value. It's the only time that something has to go in an absolute value when you have an even exponent and you divide it by an even root and you get an odd exponent. So we'll do another one. You guys, this is your final answer. Example 2. Okay. Notice that x plus 10 is in the parentheses. So x plus 10 goes together. You can't take the square root of just the x and the 10 separately. X plus 10 go together. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the exponent on that, which is 10, and we're going to divide it by the root, which is 5. 10 divided by 5 is, so my answer is x plus 10 squared. You do not multiply it out. I do not need absolute value because an even divided by an odd is an even. It doesn't matter. Only time you need absolute value is when it's an even divided by an even and you get an odd. And that's your answer. What questions do you have right now?
What are the lines for the first one?
Those are absolute value because when I did, this is an even, my exponent was an even, which was 2. My root was a 2, so 2 divided by 2 is 1. Because even divided by even is an odd, you put that variable in absolute value. And it just means you can't have a negative, it can't be a negative number. You're going to get a positive root. Okay. So 6 is in the check mark. Okay. So I don't have any numbers. All I have is a variable. So I'm going to take my exponent, which is 6, and I'm going to divide it by the root, which is 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So I have t to the first power. Okay. First power is an odd number, so I have to go back. My exponent was even. My root was even. That means my answer needs to be an absolute value. What questions do you have? Again, you guys, even exponent, even root, odd exponent at the end, your answer needs absolute value. Are there any questions about those?